Hey guys, so in this video we're gonna be using 3D Unity's engine basically to enhance the 2D version of Graal. In this case, we're gonna work with lighting. As you can see right here, the scene is rather dark, rather ominous, but there are lights coming from some sort that dynamically react with the shadows to what the player is actually, to where the player is and how it's displaying on him. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna go on this specific level from the server, take it, download it from the server, and actually change its name from a .nw file to .nw.txt, and then import it to Unity in a specific project file. Hopping to Unity, I've already taken the Delport City Spar Solo 2.nw file and creating it into a .nw.txt and import it into the resource folder of this Unity project. Now this Unity project in the assets has this Graal Unity lighting scene. That is what we're mainly going to use. Now to actually see the level, we're going to have to go to Tiles, go to our resource where the .nw.txt file is, and just take it, drag and drop it to the text asset. Now when we press remake map, yep, this is the level. Now you can see this black camera going on. This is a Tiles camera. When we move it out, yes, this is exactly our level. Now the cool thing about that is that actually when we actually start and actually upload this file on the server, this is what the camera will see, just a dark screen because there is no lighting. Now the way to add lighting is rather simple. We're going to come here, just create a new object, make it a 2D light. For now, let's keep it a simple light, and as you can see right here, the light is there. Now for it to work directly and smoothly on the actual server, we need to create an empty game object and name it the exact same name as the level. So in this case, Delport underscore city underscore spar underscore solo 2. Now we can parent the light to this game object, and we need to make sure of specific things. First, the tiles object must be at 0, 0, 0 position. This Delport City Spar Solo 2 must also be at 0, 0, 0 position. And now we can edit the lights wherever we need them to be. So in our case, just taking the light and just make the size rather big. So let's try some corner lighting. Let's put one light right here. Let's then duplicate it. Put it up there. As you can see, it does not show on the camera. But once we move up, you can see the difference in lighting. Now let's take them both and actually diminish a bit on the size. And I'm using Ctrl D to duplicate and put them on the other side. So now we have created our level, which is dark in the center, but illuminate on the edges. Now, the way you can actually do it will create specific atmospheres and everything else. So the way to actually upload this asset bundle is really simple, but it has to be in the same exact structure. So you will go to the external Graal asset bundle folder, create a new folder, call it the exact same name again as the level. So Delport underscore city underscore spar underscore solo 2. Enter this folder and just create the prefab right here. Now we go back to the folder, and the asset bundle, you guessed it, will have to be named the same exact thing. So Delport underscore city underscore spar underscore solo 2. Now we're just gonna build the project. And then drag and drop the little asset bundle file onto the server. And now that the actual asset bundle has been uploaded, an automatic system, an automatic script will directly just show it and apply the filter, basically. And as you can see, where we move, we do have our corner lights. And if we stand on it, they just disappear all the lighting, but it does dynamically change with the player's movement. Now, this is really cool because you can, with specific positioning, with different types of lights, you can just check in the entire Unity light engine So for example, you can create a light collider, which will actually be like a wall that blocks light, or you can create a light room, which is just an area that is lit in with a specific color in just a specific area. Exactly. And there's really a lot of stuff that you can do with the lighting in Unity Engine that can be just ported in that way to GraalScript 2. But a really cool thing that you can also do is actually manipulate the light. So let's do a simple example here. We're going to take a new light and I'm going to position it at the center of the stage. We're going to make it really small, barely existing. And what I want to do is I want to make this light pulsate. I want to let it go in, go out, go in, go out. The way to do that is to just open up in the Windows, Animation, Animation, or press Ctrl 6. Now once we do, we can create an animation for this light, and let's call it ease in, ease out. So the way to actually implement the animation is just to add a property that we want to modify periodically, then search which property we want from the light, which is in that case its size. And now we're just going to hit the record button. I choose our time, let's say, and right here we're going to put the size to, let's say, 31. And if I hit play, you can see it's going to dynamically pulsate. Now this is a bit too fast, it may be annoying, so let's make it go for longer. Let's say a 2-minute loop. And now when we hit play, as you can see, it's a bit smoother. Now if we want to make it different, now the thing that you can be changed, we can also change the position of the light. So it can just oscillate between 2 points. So say right here it goes to the left, and really you can do whatever you want with it. So, and to actually apply these changes, you just save, go to the actual game object, press on the override in the inspector and apply all. Now when we build the asset bundle, all our changes have been made, have been set up, and we can just wait for the asset bundle to load and upload it to the server and check for the updates. And yep, as you can see, when we're actually in game, we can see the light just pulsating and just moving around. So our edits and our light animation, let's say, work. Now, something also amazingly cool with the system is that you can use code, your custom code, not need like specific steps and specific folders to access the main code that loads in all the lights, to create your own custom lights at specific positions. For example, right here, this code right here handles basically lights on the player. So if this dot light, so if I set this one to true and the spot to false, basically what it does, it creates, okay, it takes in a game object and parentheses to the player, and it adds to it a light source. So that way the player will glow. Now if I run this script, as we can see right here, my player is actually glowing. He is generating his own light source. The other part of the script, this dot spot, actually manipulates this light source that we created to actually create a torch-like effect. So what we're doing is we're minimizing the size and changing the angle at which the light is being projected. If the spot is active, we're checking the player direction and rotating this light spot. So if I actually run the code, yep, as you can see, we have created basically a torch or a flashlight effect on our player. Now in this code specifically, when everything is false, we're actually just creating this shadow effect on the player. We're basically telling Unity that, okay, this is the player, and we want it to be like a giant box. Usually if these are not ticked, and in the main engine they won't be ticked, this will be the default code, just the default settings, let's say. that allow the player to just have this effect, shadowy effect, like it exists in the actual lighting world. Now you can imagine the various applications for this. Now, for example, here when we're changing the light to D, we're then keeping track of it with the player to make it look like a glow effect. You could change the position maybe to make like a halo effect. You can really play with the lighting to create your own dynamic moods. You can not need to actually make it follow the player, but for example, every couple of seconds, a light will spawn on the player position and just stay there. Maybe create a mini game of that. Really, the possibilities are truly endless. Something to note is that all of this variable acts like the size, the spot, angle, inner, they're really there in Unity. If we come here to a basic light, you can see the size, which would dynamically change. The spot angle, the upper and the lower, which is basically these variation, whether there is the shadow or not, how much the angle is, and really all these details that can actually be also edited from Unity, but that would be edited from code, which would make it more dynamic. Now, something to take note is that these four booleans must be set to true for the lighting system to work. The first one is to say that we're using the style system for the lighting and to actually use the light mapping, to use the light mapping with the NPCs, and etc. So when we actually set one of these variables to false, this would actually completely remove the lighting in the level. For example, if I set light mapping to false, as you can see, there is no more lights in the level. Now that can be beneficial, especially if the level does not have its updated light map yet. You can just disable it based on the level. Or if you want to create specific effects or just create like admin level access that can just disable lighting when need be, this is an option that can be done via code. I'll let you experiment for the rest of the variables on what they actually do, but yeah, you get the idea. Now the great thing about this system is that it's not really limited to just lighting. You can also use the same idea and everything for level editing, adding some background stuff, background sprites, and all. So let's get an example. So let's just go right here in the asset folder and go to the sprites. We have here a fire sprite that just animates, which are all different states of the animation. And let's drag it inside the scene. Now we have this fire right here. So to make it look better, just take it and place it here. Now this fire should generate, well, light. So let's add the light 2D component to it. And yeah, we can edit a bit, change its angle of influence, whatever. Now this is our fireplace. Now this fireplace will not actually be displayed on the tile system unless we do something very specific. So we go to the fireplace, we have to choose a specific layer, layer tiles with a capital T, exactly like that. It has to be on layer 16 of Unity. The way to do it, just add a layer, go to user layer 16 and write tiles. Simple enough. Now, since we have all these frames for the fire animation, let's actually create the animation. So we come here, choose all the fire animation and create it. So fire animation. And we create it from the sprite renderer. Now it's just about micromanaging it. So basically all it is, I took the keyframes, which are the different sprites each moment, and separate them by 5 seconds each. If I hit play, you can see that the fire is actually playing a really cool animation. Something important to note is that the order in the layer cannot be equal to 0. It has to be set to something arbitrary, greater than 0, for example 10. So after changing this edit and saving it by overriding the transform and actually building the bundle, we get this actual result. And as you can see right here, we have created a specific light source that comes from a torch with an actual sprite and animation, which in essence Now this is arbitrary. Now imagine putting a torch on each side of the wall, or using these sprites to create dynamically lit environment with actual meaning. Like here, a torch is actually producing light, and yeah, this is really a powerful asset of this tile system, and it's really not limited to just sprites. You can actually experiment with it and use light to actually displace a lot of things. Now you can also imagine all the applications, like where this light could be really good, how this could create ambience, how you could make logical objects that would generate light, and actually how you would just design your level and create something vibrant, something interesting with different background objects that are animated through the Unity engine. So in that way, you really can create dynamic level with dynamic lighting with specific objects that are actually producing this light and are actually animated inside the level. For example, these lamps are flickering lights. These other lamps that have rotating light waves and everything, you can use it in gameplay. You can also use it in actual visual effectiveness. And yeah, whether it's light or sprite animations, basically level editing is really strong, especially with the world engine, which is based on Unity.